Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into Sigmund Freud's big structural model of the psyche.
Yeah, the famous trio, id, ego, and superego.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's all based on the source material you shared with us.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal, really get a handle on how Freud thought the mind was structured
Yeah.
and, those internal battles that shape us.
Right. And it's so important to remember, these aren't like physical spots in the brain.
No, not at all. They're concepts.
Theoretical constructs, yeah, describing our mental setup. And the main thing is how they interact dynamically, always pushing and pulling.
Okay, so let's start with the id. The wild child, right? Present from birth.
That's the one. It's the most primitive part, totally unconscious. Think raw instinct.
Sex, aggression, basic needs.
Exactly. Food, warmth, comfort, all driven by one thing, the pleasure principle.
Ah, okay. So, immediate gratification. Wants what it wants now.
Precisely. Avoid pain, get pleasure.
Yeah.
No logic, no reality check, just impulse. It uses what Freud called primary process thinking. Basically wish fulfillment, forming mental images of what it wants, like a daydream satisfying a need, but not really.
It's not very practical.
Not at all. Freud called it the dark, inaccessible part, the untamed horse, pure energy, no direction.
Right, right. Okay, so you've got this demanding id, but we obviously don't act on every single impulse. Something develops to manage it.
Exactly. That's where the ego comes in. It develops from the id as we interact with the world.
This is the I, the part we think of as ourselves, the mediator.
Largely, yes. Part conscious, part unconscious, too.
Yeah.
And it operates on a different principle.
The reality principle. Okay, so this is the part that figures out how to get what the id wants, but like realistically.
You got it.
Yeah.
It tries to satisfy the id, but safely, acceptably. It considers the real world, social rules, consequences. It knows sometimes you have to wait.
Makes sense. It uses logic, right? Problem solving.
Yes, secondary process thinking, rational thought, planning. It's the rider trying to steer the id horse.
But it doesn't have its own morals necessarily. It just wants to get needs met without causing a disaster.
Pretty much. Good for the ego is satisfying needs without negative consequences. Morality comes next.
Ah, okay. Enter the superego. This is the conscience, the shoulds and should nots.
That's it. Develops later, around ages 3 to 5. It's us internalizing the rules and standards of our parents' society.
So it operates on the morality principle, striving for perfection, being good.
Right. It aims to control the id's impulses, especially the taboo ones, and pushes the ego towards moral goals rather than just realistic ones.
And it has two sides.
Kind of. The conscience, which makes you feel guilty if you mess up, and the ego ideal, the picture of who you should be. Meeting that makes you feel pride.
So it's the moral compass, but sometimes maybe more like an inner critic.
Definitely. Depending on how it was formed, it can be really harsh.
Okay, so id's want, ego plan, superego should. Sounds like a constant negotiation or argument.
Total conflict. That's central to Freud's idea.
Right.
The ego is stuck in the middle.
Trying to balance the id's desires, the superego's rules, and what's actually possible in the world.
Exactly. And when the ego struggles to manage all that, that's often where anxiety comes from, in this view.
Let's use that donut example you mentioned. Make it concrete.
Okay, perfect. You see a donut, your diet says no.
Right.
Your id is immediate. Donut, sugar, want, eat now. No thoughts about diets.
Pure impulse.
Then the superego chimes in. No, bad. Think of your goals. You'll feel so guilty.
The internal rule keeper.
And the ego, it's trying to find a way. Maybe, okay, just one small one won't hurt. Or I'll skip it now, have a healthy lunch, maybe a treat later. Or even, I'll eat it, but do an extra workout.
It's mediating, trying to find a realistic compromise between the id's yes and the superego's no.
Precisely. That's the balancing act.
So feeling psychologically okay kind of depends on how strong your ego is, how well it does that job.
That's Freud's idea of ego strength. A strong ego balances everything effectively.
And imbalances cause problems. Too much id.
Impulsivity, maybe trouble with the law, addiction.
Too much superego.
Crushing guilt, anxiety, rigidity, maybe never feeling good enough.
Wow, and a weak ego just gets overwhelmed.
Yeah, struggles to manage any of it. Difficulty coping. And our upbringing really shapes how strong the ego and superego become.
And when the conflict gets too intense, the ego has tricks, defense mechanisms.
Unconscious strategies to handle the anxiety, like distorting reality a bit.
The sources mentioned repression. pushing stuff down.
Yeah, pushing uncomfortable thoughts or memories out of awareness. And denial, just refusing to accept something, is true.
They can help us cope short term.
They can be adaptive, sure, but relying on them too much or too rigidly causes its own problem.
Oh, absolutely. It's abstract, hard to test scientifically.
Mhm.
Did Freud focus too much on basic drives? Many think so.
Modern psychology has other ideas, information processing.
Right. There are updates, different angles, like maybe the updated tripartite model. But, the core idea that we have these internal, often conflicting forces shaping us.
That idea is still really powerful. It gave us a language for inner conflict.
So I'd ego, superego. A framework for understanding those internal tug-of-wars. Our motivations, how we navigate being human.
A really influential way to think about it, even with the criticisms.
Okay, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. Consider a recent time you felt really torn about something. Big or small, doesn't matter. Can you almost hear those different parts? The raw desire, the voice of the rules, and, well, the part of you just trying to figure it all out in the real world. Maybe listen for those echoes next time.